Hey, this is Andy Henriquez, and this week's message is called Lessons from Africa. That's right. I don't know if some of you know, but a couple months ago, I took a trip to Africa. Never in a million years did I think I was going to be flying 23 hours across the country over to Africa. But let me tell you something. When you go over there and you're going on a missions trip, you think that you're going over there to make an impact. You think that you're going over there to change lives. But let me tell you what happens. You come back changed. You discover some things and you learn some things. So I want to share with you just 2 lessons that I learned from Africa. And here's the first one. Here's the first thing. And I want you to take this to heart. Here's what I realized, that no matter what it is that you're going through right now, trust and believe that you can handle it. I saw some people in Africa that were going through some tough times. I saw some people in Africa that were living in huts. I saw some people in Africa that had to walk 5-6 miles just to go get some water. I saw some people in Africa that every time they go get water, they put their life at risk. The possibility of getting eaten by a lion, the possibility of getting trampled by an elephant. I saw some people that were living in the slums, that the water that they were using to eat, the water that they were using to drink is the same water that other people are using to use the restroom. And guess what I also saw? I saw people who are happy. I saw people who are smiling. I saw people who are making the best of their situation. And here's what I realized, that no matter what it is that we're dealing with, you and I, no matter what it is that we're facing, guess what? You can handle it. Because I saw people every day in Africa that were handling the worst of circumstances, and they were handling it with grace. They were handling it with a smile on their face. And here's the other thing that I learned also while I was in Africa. While we were out there, we partnered up, myself and Coach Kaz, we partnered up with a ministry out there called Kenya Believe It. And we went into a place in a town called S.U.F.Y.L. And while we were out there, I'm talking about a desertous area. And we were out there and we were going to go into the tribes and talk to them and minister to these people. We didn't speak their language, so we needed an interpreter. So we hooked up with this man by the name of William. And this guy got in the car with us. He drove around, and when we got into these different villages and we were talking to the tribes, he would translate in their native language, in Swahili or whatever other dialect they spoke. And we just assumed, as we looked at William, because he was nicely dressed, we just assumed as we looked at William, because he was so articulate, we just assumed that William was doing pretty well. And then one evening, we were driving back to the airport, or we were actually driving back to our hotel. And as we were going and we were driving and we had to drop William off, we pulled off and we stopped by into this place that William lives. And here's what I realized, that William was no better off than all the people that he was ministering to. And here's what I also realized, that this guy, William, even though he was assisting us that particular 2-3 weeks, that this is something that he does on a daily basis, that he's out there every single week touching people's lives, that he's out there every single week contributing. And guess what? He's no better off than they are. He's not living in some beautiful big home. He doesn't have a whole bunch of money in his bank account. No, he's living in a hut just like them. And he also doesn't have much money in his bank account, just like them, that he's having to deal with the circumstances just like them. But let me tell you what's special about William. He didn't allow his circumstances to limit his vision. And you see, that's what I learned. I learned from William, and this is a lesson that I learned from Africa, that sometimes, no matter what the circumstances are, you can't allow the circumstances to limit your vision. And so I want you to think about that thing that you've been wanting to do, that you've been meaning to do. And you've convinced yourself because of your circumstances that you can't make a contribution. Because of your circumstances that you can't start this business. Because of your circumstances that you can't become a motivational speaker. Because of your circumstances that you can't take your business to the next level. It's not true. You don't have to allow your circumstances to dictate what your vision's going to be. I learned that from William, an everyday man who's making extraordinary contributions, because he understands at the core of his heart that your circumstances do not have to limit your vision. So there's 2 lessons that I learned from Africa, and I want you to take them to heart. I want you to write them down. And the first lesson that you have to realize is this, that no matter how bad the circumstances, I don't care what you're going through, trust me on this, you can handle it. You can handle this thing. I know it's difficult. I know it's tough, but trust me on this, you can handle it. The other thing that you got to realize is this. Don't worry about the circumstances. Don't worry about what's going on in your bank account. Don't worry about the fact that your spouse is not supporting you right now. Don't worry about the fact that you've been let go from your job. Don't worry about the fact that you've been trying to make this thing happen for the past 2, 5, 10 years. I don't care. Just know this, that your circumstances do not have to dictate what your vision is, that you can have this vision of yours to come to fruition in spite of the circumstances. So remember those two things. Number one, you can handle it. And number two, that your circumstances do not have to dictate what your vision is going to be. Those are my lessons from Africa, and I just wanted to share them with you.